Hi, and welcome to the Reading After Bedtime Podcast. I'm Allyson.
And I'm Becca. We're two friends who met in college who talk about our favorite books, authors, tropes, and how to squeeze in reading among the craziness that is motherhood and busy schedules.
This is a judgment-free space where no plot is too wild, even if we're pushed outside of our comfort zones as readers.
It's not the plot that is wild, it's the trigger warnings for me.
It is the trigger warnings. They have definitely made me put down a few books.
So a little bit about us. I am 34 years old. I am a mom of a very active 2-year-old little boy who definitely keeps me on my toes every day. When I'm not running around with him, I'm trying to make sure he doesn't injure himself. And if I'm not doing that, you can usually find me reading or crafting different things.
I'm 33. That's just between you and me. I will never, ever admit that again. I've been married.
Come on, you're still younger than me.
Yeah, exactly. I've been married for 10 years married to my husband for 10 years, and he is the one that lovingly supports our family and goes to work every day. So I can stay home with, it was my son, but now he's at school. He's 6. And now my daughter, she's a year and a half. My son is the epitome of his father. He is wild and crazy and loves all things Legos, dinosaurs, and blueies. And my daughter, I will also never, ever admit this again, got my sass. She got my spunk, and she's coming into herself every day. And my husband always looks at me and says, "That's you." And I say, "It's not." So that's our secret, okay? Yeah. When I'm not reading, I'm crafting or I'm trying to get some sleep because she still doesn't sleep.
Oh, it's completely unfair how much sons look like their dads or act like their dads. Yes. My son is exactly like his father in the looks department, but he's my social extrovert self. So it's kind of interesting to see him because my husband's like, no, that I did not give that to him. And I'm like, well, I had to give him something because he literally came out of me looking like you. But we're here to talk about books and everything to do with books. This episode, we're really going to be talking about our preferences and how we rate books and just our reading journeys. And it's really just to get to know us before we dive into a specific book. And as I've learned, because apparently not everyone rates books the same way. And I know for me, I'm very much a vibe reader. Like, I'm not looking so much at the grammar and the writing. Like, yes, if it's to the point where I can tell it's poorly written, I'm upset. But if it's to the point where it's not a big hindrance, I just go off vibes. So this is kind of my ratings. 1 star, it's usually very poorly written, does not have a plot to me. These are the rage reading that I hate it. I can't read anymore, but I force myself to finish it. And it's comparative to, or comparable to, The Hot Side of a Pillow. Like, I don't want it. Don't
touch me.
Don't touch me. I do not rate my DNFs because I don't think that's fair since I did not finish them. So I don't have a lot of 1 star because instead of rage reading now, I just don't finish them. The second one is 2 stars. These usually just annoy me. Like, the character annoys me. I dislike it, but I didn't hate it and I still finished it. So 3 stars, it's okay. I'm neutral. There's no feelings either way. I might recommend it with disclaimers like, hey, you might like this if you like this, but be warned that this happens. Yeah, pretty much. 4 stars. This is what most of my ratings are. These are my books that I enjoyed reading. I would love to recommend to others. I finished them. I enjoyed them. They make me happy. And then 5 stars, I'm a little more stingy on because these have to be like the best time reading. I cannot stop thinking about it. Like, they are either thought-provoking or I really want to reread them, and I will talk to them to anyone and everyone who listens. If I'm in a bookstore and someone's looking at the cover, I will go up to them and I'll start talking to them about it. I am that person.
You are wild.
And I have not always been that person, but I am now that person now. So 5 stars are like, I will talk to a stranger about this book. So.
I will not talk to strangers, like, ever.
Apparently I did learn that lesson as a kid. But, it's okay. I'll teach my son not to talk to strangers while I'm still talking to strangers. So, how do you rate books?
Mine are pretty similar, but I do rate my DNFs. I don't DNF often, but I do. And that's part of my 1 star. Those are the ones I hated. And I will wish upon my worst enemy. I will text you. Just kidding. Until you read this book. I won't, but that requires
you never
talking
heard
to people.
This is an unknown number. But here's a book recommendation. That would be
that
wild.
Gives like
to
creepy
get.
Stalker mask vibes.
You just send a video message. You should read this book.
Change my voice in one of those. Okay, I will wish it upon my worst enemy. 2 star. This is my Becca's 1 star. It annoyed me. Something ticked me off. I will not finish the series. I am done. 3 star. I'm pretty neutral. I recommend it to like just the right person if it's their reading vibes. 4 stars. Yeah, that's probably the majority of mine too. I enjoyed reading it. I would recommend it. Had a good time. But 5 stars, they're my new personality. I won't shut up about it to like, Becca, but not strangers. I will reread it over and over. It's my cozy read. It's my background read, like background TV, but like in my headphones. And it's going to be my thing for the foreseeable future. Sorry, not sorry, but I can't stop thinking about it, so you're probably going to hear about it.
Well, we forgot to even say this goes with our 5 stars. Fourth Wing was one of our 5 stars, I think, for both of us. And it's Threshing Day while we're recording this. So just kind of goes back to, we will talk about it, even if it's not relevant anymore, which it's always relevant because it's Fourth Wing. But
what a way to ring in Threshing Day, though. New beginnings in Navarre, new beginnings here, except I am not walking across the slippery parapet with 1 shoe that fits.
But I would definitely want to bond a dragon.
Like, oh, yeah. Although I'd probably just die before I got there.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if I could handle my fear. Or, it's the whole why look like kitty or why kitty shaped if not kitty. I would go up to something and be like, oh, so cute. And then I would be burned. So
Taryn would just eat you alive.
Probably, but Andarna would be like, oh, I love her. Like,
oh, dude, I want to cuddle Andarna so bad.
I know. I would, this is giving Andarna like beginning vibes of just the golden. I don't have the iridescent yet. Maybe I'll do that next. Okay.
Put some tinsel in.
Yeah, tinsel sparkles. I could always use some sparkles. So what are your top genres that you read?
Well, it probably sounds pretty obvious after that conversation. Fantasy, romance, and if you combine the two, I'm a happy camper. One of my top tier books is, I know I'm basic, A Court of Mist and Fury, because I loved the slow burn, I loved the romance, but I was also here for the fantasy. So give me those 3 and it's probably a 4-star.
Yeah, I am right there with you. I am a huge romance reader. I've always been a huge romance reader. And then you mix in some like witches or dragons or vampires, and I'm just even more happy. So I definitely stick to romance, romantasy, fantasy, and then on a completely in note, like other side of the planet, I actually love listening to like memoirs and audio or autobiographies because I love learning people's secrets and I want to know all the ins and outs and like scandals. I am that person who loves the gossip, but I don't want the drama in my own life. So it's like I'll read memoirs just to get that information.
What don't you read?
If I have to pick for myself, I stay away from horror. Like, I don't like a lot of gore. I don't like those images that puts in my head. Like, it's different when it's a battle scene, but like when it comes to certain thrillers or the horror, like scare you kind of books, it's just not my take. I'm always willing to give it a try, but it definitely one of those like horror is really hard, and thriller, you have to make sure that's not like too graphic for me when it comes to real life issues. So like one example for a book club I had, we read Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. I should have been warned that, but with the last name Slaughter, she was going to give a lot of detail. And it was a really good book. Like, I can see why people like it, but I had these images in my head for like way too long. So I use reading as an escape. I don't need it to have like, oh, now I'm looking over my back to see if I'm going to be kidnapped. So that's usually like the genre I just, thrillers if it's too real, or horror if you're trying to scare me. I don't want to be scared. I don't take enjoyment out of that. What about you?
Definitely the same. I don't like thriller. I don't like horror. But on like another vein, like Verity by Colleen Hoover, that doesn't even really, well, she as a whole is more rooted into romance, but I know that one was more of a thrillery vibe, and that was that one. I should not have finished it. I should have DNF'd that one, but I finished it. And still to this day, when I think about it, you know that scene at the end of Silver Linings Playbook, not the end, Silver Linings Playbook, where Bradley Cooper finishes a book and he yells, "What the?" and throws it out the window? Yeah, should have thrown that one out the window because I still think about it and I still feel horrible. And it was like 2 or 3 years ago. So if it makes me feel achy, like I can't. Like my husband says I'm an empath. I don't know how true that is, but like I don't need that in books too. There's enough people subjecting me to that.
I'm definitely that person that I take pride in the fact I've never read a Colleen Hoover book.
I swore her off after that.
I know so many people who are in love with her, and that's great for them. I could never get on board with Veridity. Like, it just was not my thing. I listened to a podcast that went over it, so I kind of had the gist of what it was, and I was like, I'm good, thanks. But again, I'm never going to judge people for what they read. So it's like, that's what you want to read? I'm great, because I have some stuff in my Goodreads that you're probably like, what were you thinking, woman? So, but when I do find books I like to read, I tend to go through all of the formats of books. So like audiobooks, ebooks, and physical books. And they have their own place for them in my head.
Oh, yeah.
So like audiobooks, I love listening to them for car rides. Now, I used to listen to them a lot more when my son was younger, when he was not picking up new words. Now, I leave kind of those memoirs and biographies to the car rides because I don't want him to be repeating some of the romance words.
The chili pepper words.
Some of those chili pepper words. I love the chili peppers, but my son doesn't need to listen to that at 2 years old.
No.
So I keep the, closed door, YA, things like that, where I don't have to worry about that for car rides, for audiobooks. Headphones, I'll listen to anything. But I like to, when I'm running errands, I'll listen to audiobooks. Or if I'm working out, like go doing some cardio or walking, audiobooks are great, especially if I'm at that part where I don't want to put down my book and I have to go do something adult. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to, I have the audiobook too. But I'm that person who I try not to buy the audiobook and the ebook and the physical book. Like I try to use the library for that, or Kindle Unlimited, or some other platform that I can get those. So ebooks, I've used these a lot more since my son was born, because my son was that child who wanted to be rocked. He always wanted to sit in that chair and rock back and forth for at least 30 minutes when he was little. And so I would just have my phone and I would pull up my ebook, and it made for me to be able to read books when he was so young. And I know a lot of moms don't get to do that. So, but I also love it when I'm traveling, because then I don't have to take like 3 books in my suitcase, and I'm already an overpacker. So if I can just put my Kindle in my backpack, I'm super happy, especially when I load that sucker up, and it's great. And then, of course, like anyone else, if I'm waiting in a line and I can just pull out my phone and read, I'm happy. But my true love forever will be physical books. These are my preference. I want that trophy. I want the pretty sprayed edges, the beautiful covers. I will always want the physical book if I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to stop myself from buying all the pretty books, because I've gone through so many books of just the I DNF'd, but I either bought the hype.
But they're pretty.
I know. Either I bought the hype on Instagram or TikTok, and I bought these books, and then I end up not finishing them. And I don't have enough room to keep all of the trophies. And so even if I don't finish them, so I tend to resell them or give them away to libraries or whatever. But I do love a good physical book. If I can open that up at the end of the day after bedtime, makes my heart happy. Okay. What about you? What are your reading formats? What do you like to, when you're reading, what kind of books are you reading?
So this is weird. My least favorite is audiobooks, but it's probably my second most used. And if you have one of those graphic audios that are big these days, those are like chef's kiss to me.
Yeah, that's how I reread Fourth Wing, the first and second one.
Yeah.
When
the third was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because what I do is I'm sitting in my daughter's room, either putting her to bed or back to bed in the middle of the night, and I put in headphones because I'm trying to stay awake. So that's usually how I get those in, and that's why it's so heavily used. Or I'll use it in the car by myself, which is very rare these days. So I don't love it because my brain gets to thinking about something else, and then 5 minutes later I come back and I'm like, what just happened? So I try to keep
that is my brain
to a reread usually, but it depends on how stacked my TBR is and how behind I am. But it is what it is. I'll just hit the rewind button when she's not looking. I've also been doing ebooks a lot. I actually asked for a Kindle when I was pregnant with my daughter because I knew those long nights were coming. Mm-hmm. And sitting in the dark, I can't read a physical book, but I can read my Kindle. And I just brought my Kindle on vacation with me. I loaded up a book. I don't know what delusion I was living. I read less than 100 pages.
It depends on the vacation for me. It really does.
I mean, we flew with them. I was like, hey, yeah, 2 plane flights there,
Oh,
2
no.
back. Sure. Now, with a lap sitter, what
Nope.
was I thinking? I was living a
Nope.
delusion.
I can never read on a plane with my toddler. I used to read, that's all I would do on a plane. And
Yeah.
now I'm like, I can't get it out because I'm constantly keeping him entertained. The last vacation I took, the only reason I got to read anything is because we had people that got sick on the trip. So it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, so I guess we're staying in and I'm reading my book. But we even went to the beach, and that would have been like an easy read day for me when I was not a mom. And now it's like, oh no, my son is part fish, so I don't get to sit on the beach. I am out there in the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
Where my brain would much rather be on the beach with a pina colada and a book in my hand. So I completely understand, especially traveling with 2. I can see how you would not get any reading done.
No, less than 100 pages. But yeah, I definitely prefer physical books and the pretty edges. Someone in my neighborhood was offloading some books yesterday for like $5 each. And I got this beautiful hardcover sprayed edges, originally like $32 in the cover. It looks brand new. She took care of that book. I was like, yes. And it's on my TBR already.
I love when you get those. Like,
right?
Just those finds are like the best.
Yeah, it's my favorite. My husband and I are saving up for like our forever house in like 8-ish years, we're thinking. And I'm already planning like this giant library, and I want all these sprayed edges facing, edge side out. And I want the bell ladder. I have to stop myself because we're moving like once before we get there, and then we have to move and get there, and books are heavy.
They really are.
So hard.
I feel like if I ask my husband to move my bookshelves one more time, it will be a reason for divorce, because we've moved them in our house. We've stayed in our house, but we were contemplating moving this summer. And when we did, I was going to get my own like room with my desk and bookshelves. And so I was like, oh, that sounds great. Well, when we decide not to move and we're staying where we are, we love our house. We have a lot of room in our house. The problem is we share an office. Well, let me rephrase that. He has his office when he works from home that has his desk, and it's also our guest room, and it's where the books used to live because it was just our guest room and my bookcases. It was great. And then he started working from home, and he had his desk in
Took
there.
over.
And especially when our son was born, we had to move his office out of there and into the guest room. So we kind of took 2 rooms and smashed them together. And so I was like, oh, let's move my bookcases out to the den area, which was great for when my son was not moving around. Because our den area does not have a door on it. It's just wide open. It has a gate now, but it's also where all his big toys and trampoline and indoor slide was.
That's my life right now.
And so my stuff kind of, moved that way, and my desk got banished to the den area, which I love. I don't mind at all. But we moved my bookcases recently back into the guest room. And I swear if I try to get him to move them again, he will find a way to divorce me. I'm like, because he's like, I have so many holes in the walls trying to anchor these.
No.
Yeah. And so my bookshelves will be staying put. They're happy as can be in there. And if I need more bookshelves, I will find something. Maybe my dining room needs some bookshelves. We'll see.
It does.
Yeah. We don't use it for anything else.
Who needs to eat? That's my issue. Like, I have one bookshelf, and I can only use like the top 2 or 3 shelves because it's in our upstairs area, which they call a loft, but they sit on a throne of lies. It's really just an extra wide hallway. It's nothing. And my kids' rooms are right there. And then mine, like all the bedrooms are upstairs, and then the living area is downstairs. And my son, he's 6, he's fine. But my daughter, we're going to, in probably about a year, we're going to move her to a toddler bed, and she's going to have a little more free reign of the upstairs area. And I just know she's going to get into one of my favorites and tear it up. So I try to keep them, but I have this sad little one bookshelf. Everything else has been like shunned to a box in the garage because we lost when we moved here. A couple 100 square feet, a bedroom, half a garage. Like, it's been a struggle, and my poor books are paying the price.
I will say I'm very proud of my son. He has never torn a book yet, knock on some wood.
Oh, yeah, lots of.
But he did take a book out this past summer before we moved him into the bedroom that had the door on him, and took a crayon and colored on one. Now, luckily, it was one of those old $8 paperbacks
Oh,
that were
yeah.
like this big. Like, they used to be so small. I could fit so many of them in a shelf. But that tells you how long I've been reading romance, because like they used to be this big and now they're like this big. And so it's one of those, like, when he did that, I was like, okay, this is the time to move. Speaking of how long I've been reading, that kind of segues into our next topic, which is our book journeys. Have you always been a reader, or is it something you've kind of grown into? What's your reading journey?
No, like I was always, the issue was I was in like pre-AP and AP English, and they made me read Shakespeare. And I don't like Shakespeare. I mean, this story is interesting, but I don't like the Old English. Like, that's not my thing. Just give me medieval setting books with normal English and not a whole bunch of modern slang. Like, that is my sweet spot. So from like college really into like the pandemic, like everybody else, I didn't read much. I had a couple of books under my belt, but like I was teaching full time. I didn't have kids immediately, but like then I had kids, and that made it worse. I had to kind of figure that out. And it wasn't really until, honestly, it was probably 21, 22 for me that I started picking up books. And what was recommended, what I first started with, was Beach Read. And I'm sorry, but it ends with us. And then from there, I've kind of, I love Beach Read. Like, that's still one of my favorite books, but I've reread It Ends With Us when the terrible sequel came out. And it felt like a fanfic. I'm sorry. I've definitely like evolved. Like, if I'm going to read romance, it's not from her. Yeah. No shame, no judgment if you do. That's how I started again, right? Like, so then, I went into Sarah J. Maas, and then I fell down that rabbit hole that I'm still on. So like, I always loved to read. It was just a matter of school kind of killed it for me for a really long time. And then I kind of had to remember that, hey, reading is kind of entertaining, but you are 0% productive when you are stuck in a really good book.
Yeah, I can understand that. So I know for me, like, it's kind of funny because people see how much I read now and they're like, oh, you've always been a reader. And it's like, no, I was that kid who had to go to reading recovery, who hated to read because it was a struggle. Then I moved to a new area because I grew up military, and when you don't have friends, you're kind of like, what can I do? And I ended up in the library, and they had a collection of books. It was a series. Well, it was kind of like those standalone series where the author writes the same kind of books, but they're all different plots. Mm-hmm. And it was by this author, Lurleen McDaniel, who has since passed away, but it was like the Nicholas Sparks of like young adult. They were really short. They had someone who was dying of a terminal illness, and it was like that like angst of like, I love him or I love her, but something's going to happen. And they showed me how much I enjoyed that like romance genre in a very age appropriate way. Well, then, and really at that time, it was the early 2000s, 2005 era kind of way. There wasn't a whole lot of romance YA. Like, you were just getting like Twilight, which had the fantasy. I wasn't really quite there yet. I wanted something more realistic. And so I moved from the Lurleen McDaniel books to more closed door romances of like the Nora Roberts, the Joanna Lindsays, things like that, which my mom was okay with me reading because they were closed doors. But as I matured and, especially around college, those doors started creaking open. I remember one time in high school, we went to Barnes & Noble and I got this whole pile of books, and my sister was like reading through my books looking, and she looked at one and just saw on it
the wrong page
that it said, well, no, it wasn't even on the page, but on the spine. It was when they wrote that it was erotica on the books. And my sister's like, hey, Mom, you should probably look at this. And that was the only time like my parents like censored a book, because it was like, for a high schooler, it was not something I probably was ready for. And that's okay. But I did get more, and I was aware of those types of books out there. And so when I was in college, I did start reading a lot more open doors. I'm wide open. But I did take a little bit of a hiatus away from reading, especially those first few years. As Allyson said, she was a teacher, and I was a teacher before I became a stay-at-home mom. Actually, I was a librarian after I was a teacher. But when those first few years of teaching, I just didn't have time to read. And when I did have time to do something, I wasn't reading, or I was reading like one book every few months. So it really took a very slow down of me reading. And then around 2018, I was getting my master's and I needed an outlet. I was kind of getting into, being on Instagram and TikTok. Well, not TikTok. TikTok hadn't exploded yet, but really Instagram. And I was looking for something else to do. And around 2018 and then in 2019, that fall, I was doing my practicum for being a librarian. And I had to do, some of my classes, I had to actually read books and read, YA books and read different types of books. So that kind of got me kickstarted. And then when I was doing my practicum in a high school library, I found ACOTAR. And this was before...
In a high school library.
Yeah.
ACOTAR's not bad.
No.
Keep going.
But it got to a point where I was like, should I tell the librarian? Anyways, that's a whole nother thing. I was going through the shelves and I found it and I was like, oh, looks really interesting. And again, this was like 2019. So the whole series was out. Well, not the whole series, but like the first 3 books were out.
So like that first chunk of the series. The
first chunk. So I was able to read that chunk and I fell in love with it. And so that kind of got me into, then the pandemic started. I started getting more books because I had more time. I wasn't a mom yet. And I went through, a serious depression where my life was books. It was just books after books after books after books because I had dopamine. Books give me dopamine. And
secondhand dopamine.
Yeah. So I read a lot of books during that time. And I've slowly, some of them were YAs. And there's definitely been some really series that I loved and series that one of those series, Serpent and Dove. I loved the first book and I was so mad at the second and third. It was one of those books that I was just like, I probably skimmed the second book more than I actually read it.
That's me with a currently popular series. I've made it a little further than book 2. I think I've hated on it to you before.
And then, but now, I've kind of slowed down and I'm not binging all these books. I'm really looking for the books that I'm enjoying and the type of books I want to read. Not so much looking into the hype of everything. Of course, I still have some of the hype. Like I'm currently reading Shield of Sparrows. Hint, that will be another episode. But I like to see where people are, but I'm more okay with being like, I don't have to read everything. I've definitely moved away from YA because I just read a series that was YA and the character annoys me. I can read new adult all day, but something about that 16-year-old to 17-year-old mindset.
We're 25 plus a couple of years, so
if done correctly, it should annoy adults because we're not there. You're not there anymore. And so I've kind of left the young adult to the young adults. There's still exceptions. Sometimes they're really well written and I like the character and I want to read them, but I'm not getting just young adult books. I'm definitely looking into new, adult and just romantasy and romance in general. But that was the long version of my journey because it's fluctuated and it's been a very big roller coaster throughout the years.
Definitely.
So, but okay. The question that all readers hate, do you have favorite authors?
I do. And I'm very basic to outline just how basic I am. This was pumpkin spice creamer, okay? I'm just going to put that out there.
I have my husband being basic and getting pumpkin spice creamer now, so
that's the way.
Don't hate on being that basic person who likes pumpkin spice. Or,
I don't touch anything pumpkin. Like I said, Sarah J. Maas. ACOTAR is my 5-tier new personality. No critiques. Yes, critiques, but we're not going to admit that. Yeah. Rebecca Yarros, I really like even who she is as a person. I haven't really dove into any of her other series yet. I'm mostly stuck to Fourth Wing, the Empyrean series. Definitely want to. I just haven't. Carly Fortune, she had a big breakout novel 2022. And
she definitely sounds familiar.
Every Summer After. That was her very first novel. Read it. I fell in love with it. That was kind of right around the time I was reading ACOTAR. And I have stuck with her since. And every time I read her books, I want to go to Canada and visit whatever city she's talking about. So those are my, a book coming out. I will buy it. No hesitation. I will read it and I will probably read it again. Those are my favorites.
So for me, It's kind of funny because when I was kind of making this list of like who were my favorites, they're the ones that I'm constantly like, okay, I want to go in and really like, I will buy their book like immediately. The first one, her name's Noelle Rain. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But she is an indie author from Scotland. And I was following someone on Instagram, and just so happened she was hyping this book up. And I read it, and it was literally like every single one of this series I cannot put down. It is like my Ride or Die series. It's the An Empress series, and the first one is An Empress of Air and Chaos. And I think I actually was the one who told you to put it on your to be read list. Because it is on your
ringing a bell.
list.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. I saw it. But it is
I told
so
you guys
good.
some of those books. I'm like, huh?
It does have common fantasy tropes, but it's done so well. And the main character is just a bad bee. Like, she is just, I don't know if we're cussing in this, but
Go for it.
She is just a badass, and you see her trials and tribulations, and it's just, I have the fourth book in my bookcase, and I haven't read it yet, but she is an amazing author, and I love her because even on social media, she's a mom. Like, she became a mom the same year I did, and she was going through like the same things I was going through. So it's relatable, and I like authors who are relatable. And then the second one, I have Avery Flynn. I read one of her books for book club, and it was called Butterface. And if you don't know what Butterface means, it's kind of like you're really hot body and your face is just kind of, and it was such a different like take on like the average like female main character. Usually you have like the most beautiful person in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so relatable, and it was so funny. And so I've read all her other books. Like, she has two main series I've read. The Hardigans, which is where the Butterface comes in, and then the Ice Knight series. I am a hockey girly. If you put a hockey player in a book, more than likely I will read it. If it's done correctly. There are some that I have kind of put off because I'm just like, okay. But I am a hockey girly. Those are my sports romance ones I want to read. So again, they're just funny books. And if you can get me like that rom-com feeling of the, 2000s, I'm happy.
I still like those.
But she is getting into more of the paranormal. She has a new series that came out, her second book in it, and about witches. And so I'm interested to see where that goes. And I actually got to meet her, which was really cool. She came in my area, they have a new like adult book fair going around, and every month they bring in indie authors.
I hate where I live.
When you come next summer, we have to figure out a way for you to go, because it is. I actually, one of the other authors on my list, I found her through this book fair. And so for her daughter, Avery Flynn's daughter, goes to a local university, and she was there for the weekend.
The one we went to?
Yeah.
I hate where I live.
And so she signed up for this book fair, and it was just so cool because I've never gotten to meet an author, and I was like, oh wow. Bought way too many books that book fair, but that's beside the part.
We don't tell.
The other one that I met through this book fair is Rachel Lewis, and I've read three of her books, and they're all in the same series, and they're rom-coms with very relatable characters. Like, I cannot say it enough. The fact that her books do not have third act breakups, and when they do have something going on, they communicate. Like, I can understand a miscommunication.
What? Communication?
Which we'll talk about tropes in a minute. But like, I can't stand miscommunication for a whole book. Like, talk about it, people. Be adults. And so I love that her books don't have that. And she is a local author to my area, so which is very nice. And then the last author on my list, I know I have like 4, is actually 2. It's a married couple that they write, and they write together, and they write point of views, and it's usually, the male and female characters, and they write military, vigilante, and motorcycle club romances. They're
Motorcycle club. I don't think I've ever heard that.
Okay. I'll have to share you this series because they're the series that I'm thinking of, which they have so many books in them, but they go by different motorcycle clubs, and most of them are ex-military. And growing up a military child, I don't know what it is about a man in uniform, but it will always be on my to be read. And so it's one of those, like, you give me an ex-military vigilante that's like, you know what? I don't want to go with the, I'm going to do the right thing, take care of these bad guys. I love them. And I will read everything in their series. And I've read, like, I want to say over 20 books of them. Like, they have so many. Yeah, they have a lot of books in their clubs because they go from, like, club to club to club. And the first one I read actually took place in Austin. So that was kind of cool because, I am a Texas girly. So.
Well, we've been there together, right?
Yeah, exactly. But definitely, those are my 4, like, top. If I see anything come out, I will stop what I'm reading and I will read what they're doing. Unless I'm in that, like, frame of mind of, like, this is going to hurt and I don't want to start this book yet. So, but usually I will buy the book. It just sits on my shelf until I'm, like, emotionally
not right now.
For them. Yeah, it's a not right now book. Okay, so I said we were going to get to this tropes. What are your top tropes?
I mean, you can probably guess it based off what I've said I like, and that I'm crazy basic.
Enemies to lovers.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at our notes. We have notes, so I'm trying to.
And I threw those in last minute because I was late.
Because enemies to lovers is one of my favorites. So force proximity.
Ooh, I didn't think about that one, but yeah, that's how you get a good enemies to lovers.
Yeah. Okay, what are your other ones?
Slow, like a good slow burn. Okay. Like, people say Fourth Wing is slow burn. Not a slow burn.
No.
Sorry.
There's some of, like, if you have a series where they get together in the first book, it's not a slow burn.
I can handle, like, the end chunk of the book, but if you're, like, the first half of the book, no, you hate each other right now. Yeah. You are a slow burn enemies to lovers, okay? No. Yeah, so, like, Akatar and Akamath, like, that is my type of slow burn. Like, they didn't even get together till the end of that second half of that second book. Give me a good slow burn, but I need the yearning. I really need to see it from the guy, because you're usually in the female's POV, and yeah, sure, but, like, I want to see her noticing little subtle signs. Like, that's what I like, the yearning. And morally gray. Life's not black and white. And give me a few higher stakes in fairy romance books, because I don't know why that does it for me.
Who did this to you? And, like, if you touch her, I'll kill you. Like, those things are just, like, there's something about that.
I don't want that in real life. That's a little too intense for me. But let me read about it.
But it's still, like, when you're reading about it, you're like, okay. When things are life and death, I need a morally gray character.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, my top enemies to lovers, marriage of convenience. Those are, like, not arranged marriage, but, like
the proposal?
Kind of, where it benefits both. Or, like, even in a fantasy world where I want both of them to have a choice and them to be like, okay, I might not like you, but this is going to benefit both of us.
Good idea.
I don't mind arranged marriage because you do see a lot of that in fantasy that has more of a medieval kind of past reference in history, or it's so far in the future, the dystopian that it's kind of reverted back. But it has to be done well. I'm not a big fan of taking away people's, like, the characters' choice. I'm not okay with it in real life. But in my books, I'm talking specifically in my books, I don't like when the female main character does not have a voice. I'd much rather have a very badass, like, speaks her mind character than someone who is just like...
I like to watch that growth, though. Like, that's one of my favorites, too.
I don't mind some growth, but it better happen quickly, because if you're just going along with it, I'm like...
You were just complaining about that last night.
Yeah. The book I'm reading, it definitely is one of those, like... We'll talk about that later. But anyways, I do love a good forbidden love. Like, my best friend's brother, or, like, where girl codes kind of, you're like, well, he's my best friend's brother, or my brother's best friend.
What about an ex?
Like a best friend's ex. I think it depends on that one. Because I feel like it needs to be okay with the best friend.
But there's that girl code.
But it depends on the best friend. So, because if it's like, I'm a girl's girl, so if it's going to hurt the, like, best friend, but if the best friend doesn't care, or if they weren't, like, truly together, like, I feel like that's a little different. But I do love that forbidden romance, like Romeo and Juliet, as long as they don't die at the end. Like, that's a whole, other topic about characters dying. I hate that.
Could do one on Romeo and Juliet and rage about it.
Yeah. Which I never had to read Romeo and Juliet. Thank you very much. No. I somehow got away from that. But it definitely is one of those most people know what it is. So, yeah. But I do. I hate,
pointlessly
I can't
dramatic.
stand when a main character dies. Which is funny because, I do enjoy Nicholas Sparks movies. I don't want it in my book.
Oh,
Those are there's Knights of Rodante, just talking real quick, side tangent. Knights of Rodante will make me cry every single time.
Mine is the last song.
Who is it?
I know I've seen it. I'm pretty sure I've read it.
It has to do with the beach house that's right on the beach, and her husband wants a divorce, and so she goes there and she takes over the Airbnb for her friend.
Is that the movie with Ashton Kutcher?
No, has, they're older.
I think I know what you're talking about. I think it's coming back. Yeah.
It has James Franco in it as the son who's a doctor without borders. What is it? Oh my God. Richard Gere. There we go. Got it. It has Richard Gere in it.
And Diane Lane.
Diane Lane. Yeah.
I'm looking at
that. That movie will make me cry every single time. So I will watch it when I need a good cry because crying is great for people. But
the last song does that to me. Just stop.
I don't want it in my books.
No, I've stopped.
I don't know why. It's also one of those movies, I have movies where the couple doesn't end up together. I should have done a spoiler alert for there.
Just don't name the movie.
Yeah, but I do love those. For some reason, if it's in a book, I can't. Nope.
It's too drawn out.
Yeah. And like I said, my least favorite trope is miscommunication or secrets. I can understand if it's at the beginning of the book and you don't know the identity of someone, and then, a fourth of the way in, you find out who it is. I can't stand when it's almost the full book.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, what are you doing?
Just talk to each other.
This is not a real relationship. Talk to each other.
It makes me want to grab them both and sit them down.
Yes. Or
go mom mode on them.
I think the parts that bother me the most is the ones that start off of a secret child who, the female got pregnant by the male, never told the male, or something, someone, paid her off or whatever, whatever the circumstances. And then it's the full length of the book and you're just tell him. You've had multiple reasons to tell him. It just bothers me.
Mine is the friends ones not communicating. I read this one, they were all friends from college that had gotten together for the first time in years, and because of a big thing that happened last time they got together, but they didn't talk the whole time, and then it's the whole book. They're not talking about this big elephant in the room. I'm just please talk to each other. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah. Miscommunication will probably be one of the main reasons I DNF a book and throw it across the room. That and then cheating, which I saw was on yours.
It is on mine.
I didn't like this in real life. If you're going to cheat on a person, you kind of already know that you're not really there 100%. Mm-hmm. Just leave.
Yeah.
Be hey, peace out, bye. Don't cheat.
You're going to hurt them either way.
Yeah. It's going to hurt either way, but have some integrity. And so cheating is a hard pass for me. I'm okay with it when it's an ex who's cheated. And so that's the reason the main character is not with him anymore.
And it's not so much on the page. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's a new male. I don't want it to be I don't want the female main character to be in a relationship. She gets cheated on and then automatically goes to this other guy, because to me, that's not healthy. But I also don't like when they get back together with the male MC that cheated. Because most of the time, the cheating is miscommunication.
Or no communication.
She sees something that's not really what's happening.
Yeah.
Or it is, he's just, I'm trying to think of a word I can say on this podcast.
I thought you froze for a second.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think. Or he's just a loser who makes a bad decision, and then she's like, I'm so mad, but it's okay. No, it's not. No, it's not. So, but sorry, I can get really heated.
Yeah, you're fired up.
I am. Well, it kind of goes with the hair, so it's fine.
I want to put you in Katniss's dress. It's really
I feel like they would clash.
They might, but I still want to see it.
I mean, yeah. Sounds expensive.
It's okay.
So that's kind of all about our likes, our tropes, how we read, just getting to know us. But let's spend the next few minutes talking about what to expect from the podcast. What are we expecting? Because
it's our plan.
I'm going to be 100% honest with you. This is just a place for me to talk about books and being a mom. And I will say, I don't plan on bringing my son into this. You will not know his name.
Nope.
You will not see him on our social media. You will hear about me probably telling some stories, but you won't hear anything specific. You will hear about he is a sleep-stealing goblin most nights, which is where, why I got to read 3 chapters last night. But this is going to be our safe place. It's always going to be a safe place for us to have our opinions and to talk about what we're reading, what we are, we will have books that we read together. And then there might be some time that we just talk about other books we're reading, because sometimes we don't have time to
We can't read that fast, guys.
No, we can't. Like, we'll have talk about different things, different topics. We'll talk about books. Sometimes there'll be popular ones. Sometimes they'll just be ones that we found along the way and we want to share. But it's also, we both have really busy schedules. So how we're going to be talking about how do we fit in reading and books into our schedules.
Hence the name.
Yeah, hence the name. Hint, hint. Most of our reading comes after bedtime. But also, we might talk about how reading has affected, our kids. I know for me, the more my son sees me reading, the more he picks up a book and pretends to read. And it's the cutest thing on the planet.
I just recently started reading more in front of my daughter. And yesterday I was reading the book that we're going to talk about next week. And I go, she was sitting right next to me. I go, oh, oh my God, that just happened. Plot twist. She goes, oh, it's the cutest thing. She had no idea what was going on. She just saw Mom freaking out. I was like, oh, I can try that noise.
Yeah. My favorite is when I'm like, my son's really quiet. Where is he? And he's behind the couch with a book and just talking to himself.
Pretending.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, you are the cutest thing. But I want to, how I instill reading, I want my son to see that reading's fun. Because it is, for me, it's a great escape. And so we might talk about that a little bit more. But just know that we do have busy schedules. So we'll read what we can and we'll talk about it and we'll have fun. But this podcast is just fun. It's just fun. It's fun, thoughtful,
I can talk to a grown-up.
Conversation. I know. That's the big thing. I get to talk to a grown-up for, an hour a week. We might have to start a timer because...
Yeah, I think we need to shut up.
If you have not... realize I can talk and talk and talk, especially about books, which is why we started a podcast about books. There will be spoilers, and especially when we go into, specific books, we will make sure to have either a button or a little note or just a, hey, FYI, we are going to say something that will spoil a book. Please stop listening if you want to read this book. If you're like me and don't care about spoilers, because I will listen to a book podcast of a book I have not read.
Oh, I don't do that.
And it depends on the book. I'm trying to be better. You'll be proud of me. I have predictions about the book we're going to be discussing. Usually, I would be the one to flip forward to see if I can find the answer to this prediction. I have not.
I have a whole spot of my predictions. You're gonna laugh at me when you read my unhinged predictions.
I have downloaded voice memos again on my phone, so I could, when I'm reading, have just a little conversation to myself.
That's a good idea, because I sat down and read them. I was like, what was I thinking again?
Yeah, no, I just voice memo. But I told my husband last night, I was like, this is like therapy. I can't have instant gratification of knowing I'm right or not. And I feel like this is therapy homework for me. And he's like, you know what? It's good for you. Because
the predictions you sent me, I really want to tell you if you're right or not. But
yeah, I know. I want you to tell me I'm right too. But I'm understanding that I don't need the instant gratification. I will get through it. I will understand what's going to happen after I read. But as a mom, I don't always get to read as fast as I want to. There will probably be cussing. We will try to limit it just because we understand that our audience will probably be moms and they might have kids around. We'll try to cut it down. If it gets to be too much, we will put a explicit warning on our podcast. But I think this one I've cussed once. I don't think you've cussed at all. So we're doing good so far. And then the whole purpose of this, let's talk about books, in a safe zone that's not going to criticize us for our opinions.
Safe space, remember?
I want to be able to talk about books without someone coming at me.
If you don't don't listen.
Yeah. If you're going to leave hateful comments, just move past us. I'm okay with it. Honestly, I'm in my villain era. You're going to leave some comment, I'm going to ignore it. And if it really gets to me, I'll stick my husband on it. My husband would love it. He would just embrace the chaos. Just kidding. We're not going to do that. He will not be on this podcast. Actually, that's a lie, because he has wanted to say he wants to be on the podcast and read his favorite book, which
bedtime story.
It's the bedtime story. So we might have to do a husband episode where they talk about their favorite books. And
mine was trying to come up with names last night. I was like, dude, we already named it. You should see the list you sent me, though.
I love that they're so excited for us. Like, they really want to be invested in this, and I love that.
Yeah, he's like, tell me what it's called so I can listen. I'm like, that's weird.
I know. I'm like, oh, we're going to have to share this now. Okay, so we have just hit an hour, and I know.
I thought we were way over that.
No, which is great. I was worried we were going to get on here and like only have 15 minutes. And as everything would happen, my child just woke up.
Of course he did.
So we want to thank you for listening to us and hope to see you next week when we are going to be talking about Shield of Sparrows by, I can't remember it.
Devney Perry.
Devney Perry. So
hit subscribe
I have the book right here.
So you don't miss it.
Yeah, look.
Look how basic it is.
I have the actual hard copy and it's so pretty.
I don't.
But please subscribe, hit the button, and we hope
5 stars is cool too.
Yeah. Please review, and remember, be kind, please. This is our first podcast.
Right.
But with everything happening in the world, just be kind. That's all. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.